After I finished my college exams, I was very happy at first. Finally, we have this burden out of our shoulders. I can rest now. And then time went on. All that happiness dissolved and the only thing left was boredom. I told myself I was going to make short films, but my friends were really busy, they couldn't come at all, so I couldn't meet with them. And this only added to my loneliness. I cannot film without any actors and my friends are busy. So I just started writing screenplays all by myself at home and that's all I did. Couldn't film them. And I have to say the loneliness was just unbearable. It was like sinking into a hole of nothingness. And you know how people study for college exams, their room will be probably very untidy with notes and books. So I told myself as well, I gotta change, I gotta be more organized as well. But what happened was the opposite actually. I didn't organize my notes, my books in my room, so my room stayed messy. And I stayed up until very late at night without sleeping, and I woke up late because of that. I stayed at home, stayed lazy, did nothing. So I wasn't very organized as well. And I was actually feeling an existential crisis at that point. And I think we've all felt that loneliness and existentialism at some point in our lives for different reasons. And now let's talk about Taxi Driver. Welcome back visionaries to my new video. Taxi Driver, 1976. Written by Paul Schrader, directed by Martin Scorsese. Actually, he stars in it as well. It includes actors such as Robert De Niro, Jodie Foster, Harvey Keitel, Sybil Shepherd, Albert Brooks, and many more. Fair warning, there'll be spoilers. This will be a spoiler discussion. Travis Bickle got an honorary discharge from the Marines and is now in New York trying to earn money as a taxi driver. First thing I want to talk about is loneliness. Loneliness leads to many things, one of which includes self-persuasion. And this movie explores on that. To me, Travis Bickle has always been someone empty inside. He wants to do something, and I feel that he needs some sense of purpose, existentialism. He watches other people while he is in the taxi and longs to be like them. Maybe he wants to get a romantic partner or whatnot. He also does not like the environment he lives in. Even during conversations with his taxi driver friends, he's always portrayed distant and secluded from them. He's having a hard time connecting with people, and that's due to his schizotypal personality disorder, which is a mental illness, but there's more to it as well. He's having memory problems, which I too personally had when I was facing a bit of an existential crisis. That's all real, by the way. And it's not just him. Betsy, a worker at the Palantine election campaign, whom Travis was drawn to, she too was lonely, never really happy or satisfied. I think we can all relate to that at some point in our lives. This is actually why I wanted to talk about this film, because I just recently rewatched this movie and it hits harder now than it did before when I watched it, because I think now I'm going through a similar phase, just not as severe as Travis's, but a similar phase that these characters are going through. I felt really attached to them, at least until it got to Travis buying guns. But at that moment, I felt like I was looking at a character who has been through a gradual change in his stance because of loneliness, existentialism, New York being horrible, and his poor mental well-being, and so many more other things. And now I want to talk about Travis Bickle, who in this show is called a contradiction by Betsy. One of the examples I remember is that he watches these XXX rated films, basically you know those kind of movies, but he hates prostitutes and whatnots on the streets. And there's so many other things to talk about when it comes to his contradictions. I will talk about one more later. I really relate with his existential crisis and loneliness, and I did feel empathy for him. He also has a mental illness, and the world he lived in was needing of change. He had good intentions on his mind, but usually went about doing them in a more violent way, like shooting a shop burglar or trying to kill the Emperor Palpatine. Sorry. I meant President Palantine, or even killing gangsters who kept a 12-year-old like Iris from leaving because he had no choice. He had no other way to do the right thing. This creates multiple layers of depth to his character because he's not really a good guy or a bad guy. He's not at the end of the spectrum. He's somewhere in between, and I like those kind of characters. In case if you all didn't know, I like anti-heroes and ambiguous characters. They are my favorite kind of characters. Robert De Niro is a legendary actor, so it's no surprise how well he portrayed his character Travis Bickle. And let's talk about the world building. Yeah, New York in this time period after the Vietnam War kind of sucks. It's a horrible place to live in, and we see it through the eyes and lenses of Travis Bickle himself, and that's what makes it more interesting. We see his perspective on New York. There is so much trash, it is bankrupt. Girls and women like Iris are treated horribly, the government is corrupt, the rich are living a good life and the others not so much. People are using each other for money, there is a lot of violence. No, it's not really a good place to stay in. Then lastly, I wanted to talk about was the ending of the film. I personally feel that the ending is meant to be ambiguous. After Travis gets shot, the film shows Iris' father narrating a thank you letter and also Travis talking to his other taxi driver friends and driving Betsy as well. There are a couple of ways to look at it, I feel. Somewhere in the film, Travis says that Betsy will die just like the rest of them. But the irony is that at the end, Travis is the one who becomes like those who face that cruel fate. And that's another contradiction. And the narrating from Iris' parents, Betsy, showing up. All this could either be real or imaginary. Think about it. They could just be in the mind of Travis, what he's thinking, and just his imagination. Remember what Betsy said? Partly true and partly fiction. That's how she described Travis when she brought up Chris Christopherson. At the end, she did say not that part, only the contradiction part, but I felt like this was leaning more towards the partly true and partly fiction part that Betsy mentioned to him at the shop. Well, at least that's how I perceived it. But hey, up to this day, many years later, people are still trying to analyze it. So I may be wrong. Who knows? That's all I have for this video. If you like the video, click the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. And see you guys next time. You guys are always the best.